Welcome to East Bay Church of Religious Science, where spirit abounds, love overflows, and spiritual transformation begins. Welcome home.
There's nothing worth more that could ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and the shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord.
And so in this place, where the Holy Spirit abides, where the presence surrounds each and every one of us, I recognize, I know, and I understand that God is all there is, regardless of appearances, and that we are each individualized expressions of the one life that is God. And so I'm accepting right here and right now that this celebration of spirit, this celebration of the oneness that we are, the individualized expressions of the Most High, this celebration is perfect in mind and in spirit. And I'm accepting that all that have come together to prepare this sacred space for us this morning, for our sacred celebration, that the foundation has been laid. They have laid a foundation for the perfect expression through our music ministry with our youth, the harmony, the songs, the spirit that they bring, through our technical team that has provided all the connectivity that unites us and brings us together in this celebration. I'm knowing that the work of our board and our practitioners and our ecclesiastical team, our ministers, Reverend Francione, Reverend Anthony, Reverend Gill, and Reverend Badia Cooper, that their leadership has provided the foundation for this glorious celebration this morning. And so I'm accepting that it is all good, that with the congregation that joins us, with our volunteers, with everyone coming together, touching and agreeing, it can be nothing but perfect and magnificent this morning as we celebrate Youth Sunday, as we celebrate and remember who we are through the message that our speaker this morning, Rai Jordan, will bring to us. I'm accepting that everything is perfect, it comes together, it harmonizes, it lifts our spirits, and it allows us to celebrate this Good God Day. And so if anything that I have said resonates with you, please join me by anchoring this truth by saying, Ashe and Amen.
Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here.
Good morning, East Bay, and welcome to all to this morning's service, Sunday service here at East Bay Church of Religious Science. Today is Youth Sunday. Not only are we going to be guided by our youth with song and their presence, but we also get to bring up, for those of us who've been around a while, the youth in all of us, to celebrate the spirit of youth in all of us. I extend a special welcome to you who may be joining us for the first time here at East Bay. We are happy to have you, and we hope that you enjoy the service and that you will decide to come again and again and again. At this time, we will recite our congregational affirmation. Would you please join me in reciting, God is the only power. God is the only power in my life. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life of God within me. No past experience has power over me. I am a perfect child of God, and nothing that anyone has ever done or said can interfere with my divine inheritance. The power of God is greater than any circumstance in my life. The strength of God is mine to use. Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy, I discover that all that I need is within me right now. As I forgive the past, and I do forgive the past, I find that I have nothing to atone for and nothing to run away from. Casting off the old me, I discover my true self. I take dominion in my life. Old habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. I take dominion. Personalities have no power over me. I am whole. I am free. I am complete now and forevermore, and so it is. Yes. At this time, we want to acknowledge the spiritual support team that allows us to have this celebration and continue in celebrating spirit. Our musical inspiration this morning will be provided by, and you have already heard from her, Imani Ekman, Zara Harris Eagles, Hannah Masambo. We will also receive a gratitude affirmation from Leo Marti, Our spiritual prayer box is being provided for us. Our virtual spiritual prayer box is being provided for us this morning by Sharon Porter, practitioner Sharon Porter. Our virtual visual is being offered by practitioner Maria Sura. Our after prayer service will be provided by practitioners Paris Page, Booker T. Dykes, and K. Suzanne Massey. And we are supported by our awesome audiovisual team. You know, East Bay, I need to apologize. I don't know what's wrong. I'm tripping over my tongue. And so please have patience with me this morning as we move through this. Our awesome audio-visual team this morning, headed by Brett Richards and supported by J.J. Harris. At this time, we will view our announcements, and I just want to put a special plug in for the Faces Food Angels food distribution program that happens this coming Wednesday. This is one of the many programs that East Bay offers. It's an opportunity for those of us who spend most of our time these days sheltering in place to be able to go and pick up groceries without having to worry about crowds in the stores. You just drive up to 4130 Telegraph. The Food Angels volunteers will bring the food out, put it in your car, and you can go on your way. This is a service that we provide to the broader community as well as everyone in our East Bay community, and we encourage you to take part in that program.
Greetings, beloveds. My name is Carol Johnson Williams, a practitioner at the East Bay Church of Religious Science. While spirit is changeless, change is a constant in our lives. Surely, lots of change has occurred in 2020. And as change brings blessings, it can also show up with experiences of loss and grief. Grief and loss are part of the sacred human journey. During this season, the Grief and Loss Ministry invites you to join us this Saturday, December 5th at 4 p.m. for Listening with the Heart, Listening Circles. It will be a sacred space for being in and with community, honoring our feelings of grief and loss, whatever they may be, and listening with compassion and an open heart as we share whatever comes up during this time. We look forward to seeing you there. Until then, beloved, peace and blessings.
Good morning again. I have the special honor, actually it's a privilege, to introduce to some and present to others our speaker for this morning. We will be honored by hearing from Rai Jordan. She is a practitioner emeritus, and for over 2 decades, Rai has been creating sacred space for individuals and groups from all walks of life. She's provided guidance for them in meditation, visioning, and prayer. She is founder and spiritual director of Higher Vision Institute, which is a CSL teaching chapter dedicated to supporting individuals and groups in using visioning as a pathway for personal and global transformation. Her passion for visioning is infectious. Ray's message to all is, we must remember to remember and be who we came here to be. We must do what we came here to do. This year, Ray celebrates 22 years as a licensed spiritual practitioner. She is a published author, a phenomenal teacher, and a leader. Ray started here at East Bay Church when she completed her studies, her practitioner studies and training. She did this under the guidance and direction of Reverend Eloise Oliver, and she has traveled throughout the country and globally, bringing her passion and her love for spirit to those who she has encountered. She has also supported East Bay, the East Bay family, with visioning, speaking at Sunday services and events, as well as offering workshops and providing retreat facilitation. It is my honor to welcome Ray home and to say, well done, my spiritual teacher. We look forward to your presentation. We know that you will lift spirit and provide guidance for all of us.
All things are working for my good, yeah, 'cause God's intentional, never failing. I know that all things are working for my good, yeah, 'cause God's intentional, never failing. All things are working for my good. God's intentional, never failing. All things are working for my good. God's intentional, never failing. All things are working for my good. 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 Oh, 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 I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. Whoa, whoa. I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. Whoa, whoa. I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. God's intentional. 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 Never failing. Oh, I don't have have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Greetings and blessings, East Bay. This is Ray, and I am so excited and so honored to have this opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for inviting me home. It is always a gift to come back home, because this is the place where my spiritual journey began. It is the place where my professional journey, doing the work that I'm doing now, my life's work began. It is the place where the foundation of what it is that I would like to share with you today was formed, developed, birthed. And that is to remember to remember. That is my message today. So without further ado, let's dive in and get started. So remember to remember. We're living in times of unprecedented change. I know you know that. It's been quite an interesting year. I will go out on a limb and say that while it has been unexpected, I see the value and the necessity of what we're in the midst of, and how it is preparing us and ushering us into our greater yet to be. And for that, I'm glad. I call it good. And it's been a workout too, a real workout. So many of us have been in a state of waiting for this year to be over, waiting for the pandemic to be over and all that goes with it. You know what I'm talking about. Waiting for the election to be over, and now the aftermath of the election to be over. All of it, over. There's such an energy of overness in the midst. And now more than ever, it is essential, it is necessary, it is required that we shift our energy from waiting for a better tomorrow to remembering who we are today. The power is in the present moment. The power is in today. Remember to remember. So I have 3 truths that I'd like to explore today around this idea to remember to remember. And my deepest intent is that you emerge from our time together, having anchored them more fully in your being. What I'm about to say is nothing new. It's our teaching. It's just the spin that I'm inspired to put on it for this moment, for this season that we're in the midst of, and for this message. So 3 truths The first one is there's a master in your midst, and it's you. That master is a healer, a creative genius, and a visionary. That's truth number one. There's a master in your midst, and it's you. Truth number two, we were born for such a time as this. We're it, and we're enough. We are more than enough. And that includes you. You are more than enough. We are born for such a time as this. Truth number three, this one's my favorite. We gonna be all right. We are the fruit from the seeds that our ancestors planted. We are divine expressions of the Most High. We gonna be all right. How could it be any other way? So I'd like to share a reading with you that really is the heart of what these three truths articulate, what these three truths are about. And these are the words from our founder, Ernest Holmes. This reading is from the Living the Science of Mind text on page 123. And this is in the passage, The Power That Is Within You. Here we go. No good, or rather, no greater good can come to you than to know that the power already within you is the power to live, the power to create. Not only to create for yourself, but for others. The power to do good, the power to heal, the power to prosper. You are to realize that the power within you is a divine authority. It is a dispenser of the divine gifts. It is a giver of life, of joy. It proclaims the kingdom of heaven, the harmony of the soul, and the unity of all beings. He goes on to say, this is the good part. No one can hinder your use of this power, since it is an immediate presence at the center of your being. No one can reverse your use of it, since nothing can contradict its authority. Therefore, not only do you have some power at the center of your being, you have access to all the power there is, to all the presence there is, and to all the power, God, there is. Remember to remember. So let's dive in to our three truths. First truth, there's a master in your midst, it's you. That master is a healer, a creative genius, and a visionary. And I want to take just a brief moment to share with you how this truth came to me in its form. And that is that in 2017, which was a few years ago, I was invited to present a workshop for practitioners at the Mile High Church in Denver, Colorado, which is, I believe it is the largest religious science church in our movement, which is quite an honor. And the series that my workshop was to be a part of was called The Masters in Our Midst. And the idea was that they were inviting masters in the midst of our teaching to share their mastery. And if you know me, you know I did a visioning workshop on visioning and vision manifestation and tapping into that indwelling presence. And immediately, when it was time for me to come up with the theme of my workshop and the name of my workshop, I immediately knew that the title of the workshop needed to be The Master in Your Midst Is You. To take the focus off of me as a master and putting the focus on the participants. And in that way, all of us as the master in our own midst, because that's what our teaching is about. The greatest gift we can give anyone is to give them back to themselves, to teach them, to show them how to be their own healer, to support them in tapping into that creative genius that dwells within, that's waiting for an invitation to come out and express itself, um, to support individuals and groups as well in tapping into that divine vision, that divine design for living that is uniquely theirs to contribute, to express, and to experience. So let's just take each one of these for a moment: the healer, the creative genius, and the visionary, before we move on. So the healer in your midst that you are. This teaching is a teaching of healing. So many of the founders of New Thought, Phineas Quimby, Myrtle Fillmore, even more recently, Louise Hay, they came to this teaching because they were sick. And they discovered these tools and these practices, and they used the ones that had been developed before and then added more to it, because they were at the time experiencing an illness, a disease, a disorder for which there was thought to be no cure. See where I'm going with this? These times that we're living in are reminiscent of times that have gone on before. And so there's a healer in our midst. There's a healer in your midst. You, we have the divine authority to heal. We know how to heal. And we can use the healing principles to heal our bodies, the body of our affairs, our relationships, and any and everything that is going on in our world. There's a healer in your midst, and it's you. And it starts with doing what our founders did, and what I know many of us have done in our own lives at various times. And that is to believe that what is seen as the impossible is possible. Life is pressing upon us to take back our divine authority, to remember who we are and to own it. That creative genius. You show me anyone that is operating at the level of genius, mastery, invention, innovation, creativity, whether it be in music, business, the arts in general, science, technology. If that person is operating at the level of genius, they are tapping into something greater than themselves. They are tapping into what we all have access to. We have the capacity to create, to invent, to innovate. That means that any and everything that is going on in our world that is not serving us, that is causing discomfort, distress, dis-ease, disorder, disruption, dysfunction, we have the capacity to not only heal, because sometimes the path is healing, and sometimes the path is innovation, invention, solution, to create something that didn't exist before. We have the capacity to solve the issues that we are faced with this day. That is our divine authority. That's principle, that's law, that's first cause. The visionary. There's a visionary in you, and there's a vision in you. Jonathan Swift said, vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. You have the ability to see what others don't see. I suspect that you might already have spent some time with that ability. There may be things that you see that other people don't see. And what a blessing that is. And yet I also know that we're living in times, and I will be very honest and transparent to say that my faith in principle has been challenged this year. you know? And I say that because there was so much that I took on principle. Well, if principle says it's so, it must be so. And those principles weren't challenged to the degree that they're being challenged right now. And so I've had to work really diligently, in the words of Emma Curtis Hopkins, to reason my freedom, to find my way back to principle. Not on everything, obviously, but there were certain aspects of what we've been experiencing that the weight and the heaviness of what we are seeing with our physical eyes and experiencing in our physical human bodies was so great that I began to limit my scope of what's possible. And I began to pray to navigate through it as opposed to transcending it and healing it and innovating it. And maybe that's true for you. I know it's true for some because we've talked about it, but I'm in a larger audience here. And so I'm sharing with you what my journey has been. And it's been a gift. It's been uncomfortable as all get out, but it's been a gift to have my faith in principle challenged, to get on the other side of that. And that's what I'm in the process now, taking divine authority, recognizing, communing, owning that the master in my own midst is me. The creative genius in my own midst is me. The visionary in my midst is me. That is what we are to remember, to remember. That is a core place for us to start. We must know that it's possible, be willing to see it, see beyond what is. We must be willing to allow that divine authority, that healing presence inside of us to have life as our life. And we must be willing to trust and know and allow that part of us to have its full sway, that creative genius, to remember who we are. Point number 2, which is tied into point number 1, and that is that we were born for such a time as this. There are no accidents that we're here. We're it, and we're enough. And that's important to recognize, to know, to remember, because nobody's coming to save us. We don't need saving. We're it, and we're enough. The healer, the creative genius, the master, the visionary that is inside of us is enough to transcend the circumstances that any one of us may be experiencing at any time. We live in a benevolent universe, sourced by an infinitely loving presence, and it withholds nothing. It is always saying in the whispers, everything I have is yours. It has given us everything that we need in order to not only navigate, but to transcend, to transform, to become, and to thrive, to get on the other side of this. You know, it's been said many times that God doesn't call the equipped, God equips the called. And I know I'm a living example of that. Whew, I could tell you some stories, but in the interest of time, I'm going to save those stories for another time. And I'll just simply say that we're being called into greatness, and it can seem like a very tall order, and it's not, because God doesn't call the equipped, God equips the called. When I was little, I remember hearing a sermon, and I've heard variations of this sermon over the years about this notion that God doesn't call the equipped, God equips the called. And this sermon was about the imperfect people that God used. Moses stuttered. Lazarus was dead. David was just a child. Abraham was old. Peter was afraid of death. Martha was a worrier. And yet none of them were kept from fulfilling their callings and being used by a greater good because of their quote unquote deficiencies. Not even their fears could keep them from being equipped to do what was theirs to do. And that is true of you. It is true of me. It is true of we. And so I got to say something, because I'm realizing that, my intent is for this message to be heartwarming and inspiring, but I realize it can also feel overwhelming. This idea of, wow, so you saying I got to be a healer, a creative genius, and a visionary? That can feel like a lot. But here's the thing. All you got to do is what's yours to do. And that's enough. That's the point of point 2, is that you are enough. You're more than enough. If each of us does our part, in fact, to be honest, all of us don't even have to do our part. I mean, I'd like for all of us to do our part, but let's take the pressure off of that too, because that puts the onus on, we somehow got to get everybody on board. And that's not how any of this works. It's about a core group of people being willing to do their part and to know that their part is enough. And individually and collectively, we can realize that emerging earth that's ready to emerge, that this time that we're living in is guiding us to. What we're going through, it's not a punishment, it's a gift. It's an opportunity to get focused on what really matters collectively and what really matters individually, and to live into that. So there's something that you are gifted at. There's something that you are passionate about. There's something that lights you up and that you are skilled at, that you've been given the gifts to do. Do that. And if you're doing that, keep doing it and trust that it's enough. And affirm everyone who is ready, rising up and doing what is their part. And as we get into that energy and really allow it to rise up in us, it will call others. It will call those who don't want to be equipped. It will call those who are otherwise preoccupied or for whatever reason are inspired to be with us. And the masses of people who are stepping into their mastery and stepping into their divine authority, that will grow. But all you got to do is focus on you. And the key is, it's not about how. I know you've heard this before. It's about what. What am I here to do? Who am I? If we focus on those two things and make that welcome, the how will take care of itself. We just got to let it do what it do and know that we're going to be all right. We're absolutely going to be all right. That is so comforting. Point number 2. Point number 3, we're going to be all right. A couple of weeks ago, one of my colleagues, Layla Dunbar, she did a Facebook Live, and it was, I think, the day before the election. And she talked about, however it unfolds, we're going to be all right. I loved hearing that, because I knew what she was saying was right. Layla gave me an opportunity to remember what I know, that we are the fruit from the seeds that our ancestors planted, that we are divine expressions of the Most High, that we are sourced by that infinitely loving presence that withholds nothing, that it is always saying in the whispers, you are my beloved in whom I well pleased. Everything I have is yours. I want to leave you before I pray out with the words of Audre Lorde, who said, when I dare to be purposeful, or rather when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. There's a power for good in the universe. Ernest Holmes told us that. And over the years, I've come to add my piece on it. And that is that the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and to give humanity is to allow that power to use us. To remember is to know that we have divine authority. To remember is to know that the master in your midst is you, and that master is a creative genius. It is a visionary and it is healer. And we have all of that capacity inside of us. All we got to do is be willing, is to say, order my steps, speak to my heart, guide my feet, show me the way. Declaratively ask, and then shift from asking to declaring. My steps are ordered. My heart is open. I'm receiving the message. I know who I am. I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and I know everything that I need to know. I have everything that I need to have. I am enough. I am more than enough. And I'm going to be all right. And we're going to be all right. How could it be any other way? Namaste. This is the time. This is the season to remember, to know who we are, to take that divine authority. And so I'm going to leave you with this prayer. This prayer is a prayer of knowing. This prayer is a prayer of knowing who we are. There is one life, and it is the life of the infinite, the great living spirit, almighty, the essence of all things. Its life is my life, and my life is good, because I'm a divine expression of the Most High. And as I know this truth for me, I know this to be the truth of each one who is gathered here with me, and anyone and everyone who is experiencing this prayer as a recording. I know that there is no time or space in God, and I know that we are a united state of consciousness, and I know that we were born for such a time as this. I speak my word right here and right now. And I claim that this is a space in which each and every one of us is in a place of knowing. We have moved beyond remembering to knowing what we know. I speak my word and declare that there is something that has gotten in our spirit that is vitally alive, and it is the divine authority of our own being. I claim that each one of us emerges from this time truly remembering and knowing and anchored in the awareness that each of us is the master in our own midst, that we have the ability to heal, to create, and to vision, and that we are guided in what we're seeing, coming into being, and transcending whatever it is we need to transcend, and to create, innovate, to experience and express the goodness of God as our very life in this thing called life. I give thanks that this is so. I give thanks for this shift in consciousness. I give thanks for this time. I give thanks for this moment. I give thanks for our transcendence anchored in our remembrance. I give thanks for this divine knowing. I now release this word to the immutable law of life that always says yes, knowing that it is done. I declare that we allow it to be, and it is good. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, East Bay. It's good to be home. I love you. Peace and blessings.
The things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I'm not my race. My soul inside is all light. Oh, light. I am 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 divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light. I am light.
One, and I'm grateful for the earth and the sky and the trees and the animals and the plants and the flowers. I love you. Thank you very much. Bye. Mayawate.
I am
this is our opportunity for gracious giving, for remembering who we are, that we are the light, that in our giving we contribute to East Bay's vision of transforming the world, the planet, that there are multiple opportunities for contributing and giving, and in so doing, we allow our light to shine in a most perfect way. It's time for gracious giving, y'all. And so as we go forward today and in the coming weeks, let us remember to remember the messages from our youth and from Ray Jordan, that God is intentional, that we are the ones sent for such a time as this, and that we have within us the power to see, to be, and to do whatever is ours to do. Let us remember that we gonna be all right. As we take this power, this presence with us to transform the planet. And so it is.